Hey, what's good, guys? It's Blake, and today I'm gonna show you guys how to cook up a fire Bryson Tiller type of beat. Bryson Tiller is one of my favorite artists, and I just love making these R&B type of beats. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright guys, so first off I'm gonna play a snippet of the final beat, and then I'll get right into the breakdown. Alright, so starting off with the sample, I got the sample from a Produced by Ty kit. He's one of the most fire sample makers on YouTube, bro. I'll link his channel in the description. So here's the original sample, untouched. Alright, so what I did to flip the sample was I pitched it up 300 cents. Then I started chopping the sample into a nice little pattern right here. I just used the cut tool. You just press C and you can cut any part of the sample you want. And that's how I chop up all my samples. I don't use Slice X or any of that stuff. I just think it's too confusing. I just like to chop up my samples in the playlist. And I also raised the BPM up to 130 BPM. So now here's what the sample sounds like now. Starting off with the drums, we're going to go over the 808. So this is the 808 I use in a ton of my beats. I really use this 808 in any type of beat, from like Wheezy type beats, R&B type of beats, really anything it can go with. Because starting off untouched, the 808 looks like this. It's a pretty long 808, and it's fat. Well, I did make it more fat by boosting it, so there's the first part of what I did to the 808. I boosted it up, and then I like to pull the length knob until all this extra room is out of the 808, and then I pull this out knob up, and what this does is make the 808 like shorter, so it just makes for me it makes the 808 a lot more punchy, and especially for a beat like this, I didn't want like a long 808. I wanted to make the 808 short. You could use a different 808, like I could have went with the Zay 808, and because it's a lot more shorter and it has a similar type of bounce as this one, but I just feel like this 808 just hits a little bit more harder. It sounds like there's a kick in it. It hits so hard. And I pulled these knobs all the way down, other than the hold knob, and then here's the 808 pattern. And why I pulled all those knobs down except the whole knob is because for this one, for this section of the 808, I wanted the 808 to cut off right before it hit to the following 808. So look, so watch this. Do you hear that little subtle pause? It's because the 808 ends right where you drag this line out to. Because if you don't do that, then the 808 is just gonna go right into the other 808. And I just felt that pause added a little bit of extra swag and just bounced to the drums. Also, to make the 808 hit just a little extra hard, I threw on the soft clipper and I pushed the post gain all the way up. And then obviously I had to push the 808 down a little bit in the mix because that thing was hitting way too hard. Now here's a snare. Alright, so now onto the hi-hat bounce. I was really following the cadence of the 808 and what the sample was doing for the hi-hat bounce, because the two chords in the sample, that's like dun dun. I wanted to follow that type of bounce and like emphasizing that bounce with the hi-hats along with the 808s. So this is what the hi-hats are sounding like. These hi-hats are honestly pretty simple, but each roll really serves its purpose in the bounce, because some people just be putting random rolls in their hi-hats that make absolutely no sense. You want to really make sure what you do with your sounds, you got to place some type of emphasis on it. Like for right here, I took the hi-hats completely out because that creates a whole different pocket the artist can ride when they're singing over your beat. And all the rolls I put really follows the cadence of the melody, and it all just kind of sways together. And as you can see, I mess with the velocities very subtly with these hi-hats, but it really does make a difference in the balance and just the way it sounds on your ears. I even pitched it down from the original C5 and I put it down to A sharp just to give the hi-hat a little bit more of a crunch. Next, on to the open hats. For this open hat, I pulled the out knob all the way up because I just wanted the open hat to sound a little more crispy and just to end a lot shorter. Last sound in the drums are some more snares, and I used the chop snare. And what I did was I added this little snare roll and I just raised the velocity up as the snare roll went on. So here's what the snare roll sounds like. When I was making these drums, for some reason, I was thinking of some songs by the artist Black Bear and how there's a lot of snare rolls like that in his drums. And maybe Black Bear could ride this beat, but I also know that Bryson Tiller really likes his snare rolls too, and that's what it came out to be and how it felt in the actual beat. Mixing wise, I just level everything by ear. I really add no effects to anything. Like for the melody, I just threw on this EQ because the melody already sounded really well processed. On the chop snare, I cut out some of the low end because I didn't feel that the low end served any purpose in the mix at all for these snares. And on the master, I just throw on the soft clippers so everything can be hitting as loud as they can without it clipping. And so yeah guys, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.
Blake the Great?